Hello, third graders. Okay, for our Wonders assignments this week, we are going to be talking about some of the same strategies that we talked about last week. And one of those is the strategy of asking and answering questions while you read. So, anytime you're reading anything, you should be asking yourself some questions while you are reading. And then, if you're not sure of what the answer is, if you're puzzled, the strategy is to go back and reread part of what you already read to see if you can figure out the answer. So, for example, we could use the story of Charlotte's Web, which we've all read, and maybe there's a certain part in the story where Wilbur says he's not sure he likes Charlotte because she is bloodthirsty. And you might stop just quickly in your head and ask yourself, why does Wilbur think she's bloodthirsty? And you might know right off the top of your head the answer, but you might have to go back and reread the section. And then you would find out, oh, it's because Charlotte talked about how she likes trapping bugs in her web and wrapping them up, and then she sucks their blood. That means she's bloodthirsty. So you should be using this strategy whenever you read. And so we'd like you to use it again this week in the story you're going to read, which is The Talented Clementine. And you will have an assignment where you will be asked questions and you will have to answer them. So you may need to go back into the story to find the answer, to reread a little bit and find your answer before you answer the question in a complete sentence. Then we're also going to talk about point of view again this week. And point of view is when you are figuring out what the narrator thinks about something, or in some cases, the author. So the narrator of a story is the one who is telling the story. So you need to ask yourself that first. Who is telling the story? So when you're reading The Talented Clementine this week, stop and ask yourself, who is telling this story? And then you can try and figure out that person's point of view. And in order to do that, you need to look at clues, details. So you will look at the things that they say, and you will look at what are some of their thoughts, what are the things that they're thinking during the story, because those things are clues for you that can tell you what their point of view is about a particular something in the story. So you will be asked some questions about point of view this week when you do your turn practice book page. You're going to read a selection and you're going to be asked to identify point of view. So remember, ask yourself who is telling the story and use your details to figure out what their point of view is about something. Look at how they think about things. Look at the things that they say or the actions that they do to give you clues about that. Then I want to talk about genre. The genre of The Talented Clementine is realistic fiction. And I just want to remind you that realistic fiction is a story that is made up. It didn't actually happen, but it could really happen. So the events in the story will seem very realistic, and the characters in the story will seem very realistic. This is not the type of story where you will see an animal talking, because that is not realistic. Therefore, that is not realistic fiction. This realistic fiction will very often have dialogue between characters, and they'll have illustrations, and the illustrations will look like things are happening that could really happen. This could be part of a realistic fiction story. It could be a short book that you read, or it could be a longer book with chapters. But you need to remember that it's a story that really does seem real. Like you can picture yourself there watching everything happening, but it did not actually happen. So the story this week is realistic fiction. Good luck on your assignments. Do your very best. Always follow all the directions and answer in complete sentences.